South Bridge to the train station. Say where we are. This is a shot of looking northward on the east side of the tracks. This is the site where the parking garage is going to go. It's about 7 a.m. The morning after the storm. You can see all along the fence here that there was debris that washed up. All along here. Substantial debris. Apparently, according to a couple of people I spoke with, these cars floated here. See that one, I think, is one of them. Floated from Water Street, which was it's all the way out there. Yeah, on the other side. This is Secor Road. There's the Bauman property, the entrance to the condominium site. As you can see, that is basically still partly underwater. You see how deep it is. This is the Maui site. Shooting from the bridge. Here's the old Maui building. You can see this is also partly underwater. This is the morning after, so you can imagine what this was like last night. How you doing? Hi, baby. By the way, here's the water that's left over on the Maui site. That's all underwater. And then you've got like all these different spots. So you get an idea. See that boat down there? That floated down there last night from here. Okay. on the water. Look at that. See what happened to the tracks. They're underwater, but they're still closed. This area floods. That was a part of a tow truck, according to the News 12 crew.
Early in the morning, all these flats that post up.
Oh man.
Now this is the street, right?
right because the water came rushing down?
Yeah, it's Water Street, appropriately enough.
You know what? There's a brook back there. See, all the way back that way. I think there's a brook over there.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that thing was just like so overloaded that the water just came pouring out of the brook too.
Yeah, that's wonder why they call it that. That's the Killbrook. That's a big piece of metal. I don't know what the hell that is, but some kind of tank. I'm standing by Izzy's. That's where I am. I'm on the corner here. That's where the News 12 crew is over there. Those are the guys we were just talking to. So what we're talking about is there was a big piece of white steel down there. Yeah, that thing. What are the guys looking at there? That's a piece of a tow truck that floated and crushed up down there. This is shooting south off the railroad bridge, part way up. Look at this, we got lakes back here. Tracks are underwater. The river's like raging. Hey! How are you?
Taking evidence, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, huh?
Yep.
Unbelievable.
How long you been down here?
I just got here.
Let's see.
I'm Juan Feliciano. I live on Dale Avenue 117, right in the building there. And first the manhole covers came up and the road started peeling, the asphalt. We called 911. The police were overwhelmed and the DPW was overwhelmed. There was nothing they could do. There's about 7 cars got stuck here. We pushed them out, myself and a couple of the neighbors, the guys from here. And there were a couple of people got stuck here and they ended up parking here, and there was a young girl that I was crying and panicking. She had a toddler, so I took her upstairs, and I parked her car there, and I knew it was going to go, so I parked her car on Lincoln, and this whole thing just went. I mean, they had rebuilt this to handle the water, but there was nothing anyone could do. These people probably lost their house. The basements are flooded. There's nothing you could do, but then a lot of the traffic kept coming down Hawks and Pine. We try to direct people, tell them where to go, to try to get them around town through Pershing Avenue to Narragansett, then to Croton. But it was just real bad. It's pretty sad, but you know, there's nothing you can do.
But everybody pulled together.
Yeah, remarkably, whenever something like this happens, people always, you know, it brings out the best in people. You know, I think that it shouldn't take something like this for people to be, you know, kind towards one another, but that's just the way it is, I guess. But fortunately, no one got hurt. We called 911 because that's a main manhole there, and we were concerned if somebody got sucked underneath there, they would have got killed. So we watched that area for a while, and we try to avoid people from actually going into that area. But it's a night I won't forget for a while.
Well, you know, we don't have any damage in our basement or anything like that. I don't know what they're going to do about the brook back there, because obviously the erosion there is more significant in some places than in our house. But as far as our basement and stuff, we're fine. It's just we're lucky we have a slope up from the brook in our backyard, so it didn't come over the slope. But some people on that side of the street, I mean, they're just a mess. I mean, 2 feet of water in their basements. The other side of the street, some of the retaining walls came down and went into the houses. I mean, so we're very fortunate. So what they do about the brook, I don't know if they're going to reinforce there or whatever, but I'm sure the county and the National Guard is going to look and see what the damage is back there.
Are you satisfied with what the town and village is doing right now?
Very satisfied. I mean, they were here last night. They were directing traffic all night. They were really good. You know, they've been here all morning and helping people out. I know one of the women that were caught in her basement last night was, you know, they helped her out of here. And, you know, so they've been on the job. You can't complain about that. I mean, I'm sure there's places that are much worse than Dale Avenue, although this is pretty bad here.
Sergeant Floyd, Staff Sergeant Floyd Winton, Utica, New York. I'm with the 107th MP Company. We've been deployed here to Ossining by order of the governor, state activation for National Guard duty because of Hurricane Floyd. It's anonymous. Anyhow, we arrived in Peekskill at Camp Smith approximately 10 o'clock last night. We were deployed out here to the village about 4 o'clock this morning. I guess they're expecting us to stay until they were no longer needed here.
How many men do you have out here in the village of Ossining?
I can't say that.
What kind of trucks do you use? Obviously, you have to get through the flood yourself.
Well, as you could probably see, we're using the newest Humvees that the government will let us have. They're pretty stable. They're very good vehicles on the road. They're not too good in rain, which we followed all the way down here. So we had to maintain a safe speed of 50 miles an hour for the soldiers' protection and general public as well.
Did you save anybody on the way down?
Didn't look like anybody needed rescuing. The troopers were handling that.
And what are the status of the roads? I see the guards back here. They're directing traffic. Are the roads are falling apart, the infrastructure?
Well, what you've got going on is like what you see behind you here. There was some undermining because of the creek. There's washouts like that. There are places where I have heard there's literally washed out roads. So we've got reports of roadblocks going on, more roads that are undermined because of the extension of the rain that fell.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming out here today.
Ossining's always a pleasure to come home to. I lived down here for 2 years.
My name is John Leslie. We're on Dale Avenue. And we happen to be at the confluence of a couple of streets and some brooks. And it just came down here. It was like Niagara Falls. I heard the last time this happened was maybe 30 years ago, but then my father-in-law tells me that this is worse. We had like 3.5 foot water in the basement. Our driveway, we have holes 3 and 4 feet deep all the way down. Our garden's all wiped out. Garage could collapse. It was coming in our living room, our front hallway.
Did you get anybody to help you?
Well, at that hour, it was every person for them, every family for themselves. Fortunately, we had our neighbors were very nice. They took our children in across the street. The police were very helpful. They carried my son across the street. They offered to take my in-laws, but they chose to stay and wait it out. And so here we are. We're now part of the national scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this. Thank God the kids and everybody's okay here. You know, if they were hurt, then I'd be, you know, I'd say forget the house. But they're okay. I have concern for the house, but we'll take care of things. So.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank God the sun is shining. I may start crying, but I was born and raised here. Came in the front door yesterday. Before dinner, came in the front door, went out the back door, came down Pine Avenue, Croton Dam, Hawks Avenue. I thank God my kids are alive because the current was so strong. one of my neighbors across the street, and on Pine Avenue took them in, and the water was coming down so hard, about here. I carried my daughter and I said, Susanne, hold on to me. There were debris coming down, rocks, tree stumps, you name it. To cross that street was to fight to get her there. And we are thankful we're alive. That's all I have to say.
I'm Pat Flynn from Metro North. Most of these guys have been up through the night, the track department, trying to avoid anything they could, but right now we're just trying to get one track back in service so they can get some kind of service running here, and we'll deal with the rest of it as we go. There's not much you can do.
So the trains are just going up to Tarrytown right now?
Right now they're stopping at Tarrytown and turning around, going back down to a city, I suppose, but this is Mother Nature. You're not going to...
How are they further north from here? Is it just Ossining? How about Croton and Croton up?
Croton seems to be okay. There was some water in the yards and stuff, but actually the track department would know more about that. They handle that territory up there. A lot of trees down last night up there. There was a lot of trees.
Can you just take us through the process of what they do? Like they run a train through and they see where there's damage and then they clear the track?
Yes, well, most of the time the trains report the damage to the track department, and then our supervisors send men out to inspect it. And we have inspectors that run 3 times a week, and during the storms, they're constantly out there. So when we get any kind of damage like this, they're right on top of it, and we handle it as we go.
I know it's a hard thing to tell us, but do you have any idea when we might be able to get through Ossining?
No, that I can't. I know that these guys will work as fast as they can and probably be here for the entire weekend. But we'll get one track open today, hopefully, and then work from there on the other 3. We have one out of service over here because of the bridge, rebuilding the bridge, but we'll try to get everything back.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Throughout last night in Rockland and Westchester counties, Media One experienced several cable service outages. Our customers it was sporadic throughout the counties. However, we were able to restore service in a very timely fashion, and I'm happy to report that nearly everybody has service. If they have power, they have cable service. We were out here at Media One. We were staffed till around 11:30 last night. The last of the folks came in, and then we were back out on the roads again at 5 this morning, helping to restore service. So if people do have a service problem, please give us a call at 762-8600. Thank you.
Well, if you can just tell us what happened last night to your house.
Well, the water came up so fast, it came up inside of 5 minutes. And we had to have the fire department come down and evacuate my wife and I and my son. We couldn't come out here. We had to go up in a ladder, up from up the attic, out to the road.
Did you have trouble in the past with any flooding? Did you know that this might happen?
Oh, I didn't think it was going to be this bad because the water was maybe about a foot in the road. And like I say, it was about 5 minutes. And boom, it came up, couldn't stop it. I lost the car. I had my car parked out there in the driveway, out in the road.
Have they found it yet?
Oh, they found it down Kimmy's Cove. It was like accordion, just like that.
Oh,
yeah, I went down and looked at it. Father and I went down and looked at it.
And where did you stay last night?
Oh, I stayed with my oldest daughter.
And have your neighbors been helping you out here?
What are you doing tonight?
I have an extra room at my house. You're welcome to come. They're assessing the house right now?
Well, no, I got an engineer coming this afternoon. He'll determine if it's, it could be fixed or not to be fixed.
Well, we're sorry to hear about your house, and we wish you the best.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Diane. I live over on Charter Circle. Last night about 5:25, I turned onto Geneva Road, which was not flooded at the time, and the brook broke as I was halfway down the road. The water was coming at me. It was white capping. I had to stand on the top of my seat in order to get out. I was screaming. One of the neighbors had to call 911, and 2 Hispanic men in a big Jeep came along and had to pull me out. I don't know who they were. They didn't give me their name. They were just wonderful. and then the co-op took over from there. But it was one of the most horrendous things that I have ever seen in my life. It happened so quickly that you don't even have time to think.
Where were you on your way? What were you doing out in the storm?
I was on my way home. I had just watched Channel 7 News, and they said, go out and get gas and whatever you need before the storm hits. This was at 5:15 that this happened. So I ran out real quick to get gas. I had gone out that same road not 3 minutes earlier, and I live 2 seconds from where it got happened. I mean, so I literally was not going far from my house, went to get gas, came back, and that was it.
Well, we're glad you're safe.
And the thought that to have an electric car is very scary because you cannot open your windows, you cannot get out your sunroof. And when I opened the door to try and get out is when the floodwaters came into the car and just flooded the car, so I totaled my car, totally. But as long as I'm alive, that's all.
Right,
That's all that matters right now. When I watch, what's happened here, it's just, you just have to be lucky that nobody died in this or got hurt.
We're down in Charter Circle, and we're here with one of the residents of the homes. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, the brook just started getting higher and higher, and all of a sudden it just swelled over, and it started washing down Geneva Road and down into Route 9, and the hedges went down Route 9, and then all of a sudden the wall collapsed. And then after the rain actually stopped is when the rain had slowed down and the road just sunk right in. So first a little section of it and then the rest of it sunk in. And there was a couple of people that were actually stranded on Geneva Road because their car stalled out, and a truck came by and pulled her out of the car. And
yeah, we met her.
Did you? And and then there was one, I didn't see it happen, but the woman said she was driving through and the road sank as she was driving through. So I guess she just narrowly missed that. She was upset.
Did you expect any of this damage to come even close to your home?
No, because this brook is usually so dried up. It's hardly a trickle coming down. It was amazing to see it come out like that.
How about your kids? What did they think of the whole storm?
The kids were standing by the front door running back and forth all night long, and this morning they were really excited when they saw the National Guard come. They were screaming and running out of the house, and so it was an exciting evening.
Okay, my name is Julia Cortolano. I live right here in High Meadow. Last night we saw the brook is usually very, very low. It's like has no water running through it, and I happened to just pass by my door, and it was literally bellowing out over the top right here behind us. And about half an hour or so later, my husband and I came out actually with our video camera, and by the time we were out, the water was coming up over the edge and gushing down the road to the point that there was one lady here who tried to pass through the road and ended up having to abandon her car. She was actually standing on top of the car, like waving for help. She was actually stuck in her car. She couldn't get out. And she luckily got out okay. And as we moved down to the other side, you could see right down on Route 9, there were people wading through Route 9. There was water up to their waist. It was unbelievable. And this was all coming out of the brook. It was just bellowing out of the brook. There was also another lady whose house was, you could see no garden, just the tops of her shrubs. They were like completely underwater. And there's another gentleman who unfortunately works here. The water was up to, I would say, about here in his house. His lawn chairs were floating down the water. I hope he was able to save his house. It was pretty devastating. And there was no cars getting in or out of anywhere. And I guess at around 9 o'clock, maybe 8:30ish, I was actually standing in a friend's house, and I saw part of the brook wall collapse into the brook. And about an hour later, the road fell down. I heard someone scream, and they were like, "We nearly lost a car in the brook." And then a couple hours after that, the rest of it, we heard a big boom, and the rest of the road fell in because it was only half of it around 9, and a couple hours later, the rest of it fell through. And so, of course, the police and everything were here, and it was a bit of a disaster, really. It was a mess here yesterday. It really was.
But you braved it going out and got us some videotape footage.
Yeah, I'm one of those crazy people that gets out there. So.
Well, I can relate to that.
So it's kind of good to be in the stick of things. No one got hurt. The people that got stranded got out. There ended up being 3 cars stuck in the road stranded by the time the night was out. So everyone got out, and I guess that's what matters. So there's a lot of damage which people have to pick up today. Obviously, goodness knows when this road is going to be repaired. And a lot of people had water damage. There's a lot of lower houses where right here actually you could see the water running along into those houses there. It was just gushing down to their houses. So a lot of people have a lot of things to deal with, and hopefully they can clean that up. So
Well, we're glad they have good weather today, so that can help them out.
definitely. So,
Okay, thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Hi, this is Michael O'Connor, Town Councilman and Deputy Supervisor for the Town of Ossining. As you can see, we're here on Denny Street, just off of North Highland Avenue, and behind us on the creek you can see what was left of the transmission shop and auto body repair that came in off of the old North Island Avenue and off of Havel Street there. It's collapsed into the Kill Brook. This is a devastation to the entire region as well as to the town of Ossining. We've had COVIDs go around in all sections of the town, both in the village of Briarcliff Manor and in the village of Ossining. At this time, I'd like to praise the police departments of the village of Ossining and the village of Briarcliff Manor and the town of Ossining for their professionalism and quite heroic the way they've rescued people out of cars and even homes that have been flooded. The village of Briarcliff Manor and the village of Ossining, they're the men and women of the Ossining Fire Department, the village of Briarcliff Fire Department, and their Ossining Volunteer Ambulance Corps, also for their fantastic courage. People have put an enormous amount of hours in the last couple of days. This is the situation where people really come together and they shine their training, their professionalism, and their dedication to helping out here in Ossining and in Briarcliff as well. We hope that when the governor does arrive here today that he'll bring a good message of hope and support and assist us with the enormous cost that is facing us with the restoration of some of our infrastructure here that has been so heavily damaged as a result of this storm. And the only thing I can say to you at the moment, I'll turn it back to our staff announcer, and thank you very much for coming.
I'm Sandy Galiff, New York State Assemblywoman, and we had such devastation here in Ossining and all over northern Westchester. I'm standing here with Jim O'Toole, who's with Con Edison, and he's here to check out the damage and what's happening.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of damage, particularly in the northern part of the county. In all, about 32,000 Con Edison customers were out. The heaviest outages are north of 287, Ossining, Croton, Cortland, Buchanan, Peekskill, and there's quite a little bit of work to do.
Jim, what do you think people that are without electricity at this point, do you have any advice for them, what they can do, and how soon you might be able to pull this all together?
Well, I would expect that some folks are going to go into the weekend. With the amount of damage, the amount of work that has to be done, we are probably going to be opening up some dry ice facilities later today or early tomorrow morning, and we'll certainly let our customers know about that. I would expect that the vast majority of folks will be in late tonight, early tomorrow morning, but there will be a few that could go into Sunday.
We were talking earlier, most of the damage was due to trees falling down or other things?
Tremendous amount of tree damage. I think what we had was, we didn't have very high winds. I guess the highest winds we clocked were somewhere around 60 miles per hour, but you had almost 2 days of constant rain. The root systems became very saturated, and lots of trees came down, lots of branches came down. We had some flooding, just about as much natural disaster as you could expect.
Right. Well, this is really, as I said earlier, devastating to our community and other communities and to the people of Westchester. And I know that we've gotten some phone calls in our office saying, will the government be able to help? And we're just waiting for the president to declare an emergency here, and hopefully then some monies will be coming forth through the federal government, through the state, and down to the community to try to help out businesses. And right behind us, actually, Jim, is one business that is just
There's someone who certainly hopes that the state of emergency is declared.
Right. I had just had my car transmission fixed there. They did a wonderful job, and I got a call today saying cars are on top of cars. My roof has come in. I have no building, and here's a small businessman with a real problem.
That's right, and there's someone who really needs some help at a really difficult time.
Right. Thank you very much for being here.
Sandy.
Hi, what happened last night? You were awful busy.
Very busy, very busy. I'm Michael Martin, the owner of Martin Auto Body down here, and I think we have the worst damage look like, you know. I try to do what I can to, you know, in the water here, try to save it, things what is more important, but I don't save it too much.
I understand you lost a couple trucks and cars down the kill.
Yeah, but 70 cars that went right down the river, 2 tall trucks, who we parked across the street from my garage, you know. We got a yard back there, and nothing's there left. I think this happened when the building next door collapsed, and then all the water was so high once, so fast, so evacuate everything out.
Were you here at the time, or did someone notify you?
I was here, but no, I was not looking, you know, the cars and the trucks. I was inside the garage to try to, you know, send my people home and make sure everything was safe, you know, and try to save it, paperwork and computers and things, which, you know, we don't left, you know, we don't save it too much because it happened too quickly. And thinking within half an hour we see the water raise so high which we can control nothing anymore. Also, we don't have no power. We try to manage with a flashlight that we don't see what we're doing, where we go, so we have to give up, that's it, you know. So that's the bottom line.
About what time was this? Was this in the midst of the storm when it was still raining hard?
I don't know what time it was, but it was around 6, 7, between that time, you know. I don't look at the clock. I know the clock stopped about 4:30, still there. That's what I know.
Is all your employees helping you out today? Is everyone all right?
Yeah, they're okay, you know. I send them home because we can work and we don't have no power, you know, so it's not making sense. And most of the, you know, few they're here, the rest they're home. So the time we figured out what to do, are we gonna go back to work?
How long have you been in Ossining?
I'm working as a singer for 19 years. I don't live in this town, but I've been here, you know, most of my part of my life over here.
So this location has been here about 20 years, you would say?
In this location, I've been since 1981, about 19 years.
Have you had any ever problems like this in the past?
I never see before. I look on the TV most of the time. I thought it was gonna get us, but you know, fortunately, you know, we got it, no?
So you had no idea that this was going to happen?
No, I wasn't out here yesterday for 3-4 hours. When I come back, it was already water, you know, around, but I never know it was happened. So it was like a dream, you know. So hope we can, we have some help from the village over here, whatever's responsible, you know. Because business is closed and, you know, a custom, you know, call and we don't even know because the phone not work, you know. So I want to apologize to all my customers. Hope they understand, you know, what we go through and if we can restore this thing back as soon as possible, you know.
What are we doing here on a Friday morning?
On a Friday afternoon, it may be Friday morning. For those that may not know me, Rocco Circasa, Director of Operations for the Village of Ossining. We've been here now probably close to 20 some odd hours trying to take care of problems here in this village. As you can see behind us, we've got a building that's structurally unsafe. We've got sidewalls that have collapsed and vehicles in the stream. Right now we're focusing in on cleaning the debris. We have big crews. We have private contractors down at the railroad station. We have 3 different contractors doing the three different duties there. So we're hoping to get that cleaned up and get that stream flowing. The Department of Public Works yard, we had a major stream that runs through there, the Kill Brook, which is actually filled with stone, so we're going to start excavating all that material. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. We ask everyone to be patient, and we'll get through it all.
I understand you lost your own garage, is that so?
Well, we had 3 feet of water running through it all night, and it's still running, so we're getting there.
How's your trucks? Are you going to be able to collect garbage tomorrow?
Well, we're getting the trucks out. One of the problems with the sanitation vehicles is that a portion of the driveway had collapsed with the culvert. So we were concerned about the safety of getting the trucks out today. So we'll investigate that as the water subsides.
How is the coordinated effort with Metro North? How much of this is something they're going to be able to help you with, particularly about getting the trains going again?
Well, we've been working with Metro North since last night. They've been a great help to us. We're trying to get the water back into the channel so that the tracks can get reopened.
If people do have to go on Metro North tomorrow, right now the parking lot is still muddy. What would your suggestion be?
I'm not sure what Metro North's plans are running tomorrow, but the parking lot is muddy. We're hoping to clean tomorrow, so we're going to be limiting parking at the railroad station. Probably prohibiting parking at the railroad station.
So at this point, if there was service going through Ossining, you would suggest that there would not be parking available down at the train station?
Absolutely. I'd suggest get a ride, get down there, because we've got quite a bit of cleanup to do.
Anybody that has cars there now, do you still need to notify, or are most of them removed?
I believe the police department have notified everyone. The cars that have been in the way, we did show to a section of the lot, and we're concentrating on opening up the major part of the lot.
Thank you. I know you guys have been busy all night. Is there anything that you need from the citizens in terms of, besides their patience and cooperation?
Well, we've suffered a real catastrophe here, and we hope that everybody has the patience to understand that, and that we work together to get it resolved.
George Pierce with the Building Department, Village of Ossining. We're trying to divert some of the water away from the building right now. We really need for the water to recede, but what's going to happen afterwards is that we're going to have to get all this debris out of the stream bed so the water can flow. It's flowing over on all sides and right across the track. We've got to divert it back inside that ditch over there and go out to the river. Till then, we're pretty much at a stalemate. Fellow over there wants to get his van out, but we can't even think about that till we get this area cleaned up right now.
George, how long do you think it will take before you clear this area?
I'm not sure. This is all speculation right now, you know.
And this water's running into the railroad track?
Well, it's running across into the railroad tracks now and heading towards the river, yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Well, he's an Ossining resident and I'm an Ossining resident, born and raised here. No, 51 years, this is the worst I've ever seen it.
How long have your workers been out here today?
They've been out here since early this morning. A lot of them worked late last night, putting in a real good effort to try to take care of the situation, but water pretty much dictates what's going to go on for a while.
Is there anything you want to tell the Ossining residents, what streets to avoid down here?
Well, right now, Hudson Street, we have a problem. We have a problem up on Marble Place. The bridge right at the cemetery is out. We have a problem of a big washout at Hawks Avenue, Dale Avenue. It's closed right now. There's a lot of, just be careful. There's a lot of potholes. There's a lot of ruts. There's a lot of things popping up. It's all over. Just be careful.
Okay, we're here with some of the OVAC crew. Can you tell us some of your adventures from last night?
Okay, well, I'm Emerly Martinez. I'm one of the EMT and drivers at OVAC. And basically, yesterday we started out around 5 o'clock, and we came out and we had a first call. And by the time we got back on our way back from the hospital, things basically went downhill. As soon as we were coming down Route 9, when we got right by the Clearview School by Scarborough, there was about 4 feet of water. There was cars floating. So myself and the rest of the crew went out to see if we could help them out, and we found ourselves all in waist-high water. There was a tow truck trying to help them out, and nobody was hurt. So we tried to turn around, head back towards the hospital, having to take all the way 117 all the way up to the Taconic, and took the Taconic all the way up to Pines Ridge Road by Marino, and that was an obstacle itself coming down. So we finally made it back, probably about an hour and a half later, but at that point we had 2 crews already standing by it at OVAC, and that evening we manned all 3 rigs, and we did have a few calls where people needed to get to shelter because they were caught in their cars in the floating water in Ossining. We had a couple of patients that had hypothermia, and we treated them at the ambulance corps because there was no way of getting to the hospitals. So for a few hours we had them staying with us, and we gave them something warm to drink, and gave them some blankets. We also had one patient that was an asthmatic, and the paramedic treated her, and through the whole time was in contact with the hospital and the medical director there at the ER. And the patients decided they wanted to go home around 11. We did have no power for a while at OVAC, so it was kind of a little bit interesting. It was kind of like a twist. But overall, we pulled together, the ambulance corps, and really helped out the community.
Would you say that OVAC was prepared for this, or is there something you could do different if this, God forbid, ever happens again?
Well, because of the power outage, I think we really should look into getting a generator, because like we said, we had no power for quite a few hours last night. But I think we did come, together pretty fast. As soon as 5 o'clock, when we had that first call, I decided as the driver to call a standby, and I notified the officers, and they agreed that it was time. And sure enough, we had people come out to the ambulance corps and pitch in.
Can you just tell us how that works with your dispatcher and how you know what streets, did you know what streets to go up and what not to?
Basically, it was kind of like trial and error. We were always in contact with the police department, and they were telling us what streets we could try. We told them what streets we were going to try, and they told us whether that was a good idea or not. So that's how we ended up having to take the Taconic all the way up to Pines Ridge Road. At one point, there was no way out, so that's why we started treating people at the ambulance corps last night.
And you had enough crew?
Absolutely. We had 3-man crews and plus people at the ambulance corps helping out.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Regional News Live. I'm Roland Smith. President Clinton's disaster relief advisor says it breaks his heart to see people's soaked belongings ruined and left outside with the trash. That was just a little bit of what James Lee Witt saw today as he personally toured the devastation that Tropical Storm Floyd left behind in our region. The president sent the head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency to New York and New Jersey. His mission, to make sure that federal funds are delivered the right way and to let people know that they can call and get government help. RNN's Scott Shapiro has more from Lodi, New Jersey.
This is the type of destruction you can only comprehend by seeing it firsthand. Which is why FEMA Director James Witt toured New Jersey and New York to assess the damage caused by last week's flooding. He and his agents are spreading the word that 600 more operators are being added to a toll-free number to speed requests for disaster assistance. Grants are available to those who qualify, and 30-year loans at 4% interest will be offered to the rest. For the Mastranos, the visit is appreciated.
It really makes you feel that this is for real. I mean, this is a serious thing that occurred. And, it's very reassuring to see them. You know that the help came as fast as it did.
This is where the Mastranos live. The inside of their house is ruined. And like so many other flood victims, they've piled their personal belongings out onto the street like trash.
It breaks my heart to go down the street like we went down a while ago and see all of the debris and personal belongings of people piled up on the street, okay? Because a lot of these people have worked all their life for what they have lost in just a matter of minutes.
Is utterly unacceptable. 1 million people in this region were affected for 4 days.
That's how long U.S. Representative Steve Rothman's constituents went without long-distance phone service. He's calling for a congressional investigation to understand why important phone lines would be placed in a floodplain below ground. Bell Atlantic says the facility has been there since the 1930s and wonders how anyone could prepare for a 200-year flood. One way is by not rebuilding on floodplains. Lawmakers say it's an option they need to review with their colleagues in local municipalities. Reporting in Lodi, Scott Shapiro, Regional News Network.
Federal officials also surveyed the flood damage in Westchester County, New York today. Governor Pataki and Senator Chuck Schumer joined James Lee Witt in the Ossining area. Officials say that Tropical Storm Floyd caused at least $12 million in damages in Westchester and Putnam counties alone. They expect that figure to climb higher as more reports and claims come in. To receive federal assistance, here is the toll-free number to call. It is 1-800-462-9029. Operators are standing by from 7 in the morning until midnight, and you are urged to call this number right away because the longer you wait, the more time it will take to process your claim. Hurricane floodwaters have raised doubts about development on the Hudson River front in Westchester. Ossining, New York saw some of the worst damage in our region, and some of that damage was right where developers plan to build new apartment buildings. RNN's Kent Pierce has more on this controversy.
Rains from Hurricane Floyd turned a small stream in Ossining, New York into a raging torrent. It washed out streets, buried people's belongings in 2 feet of mud, and turned a half-dozen cars into modern sculpture. At the same time, the Hudson River overflowed its banks, drowning this riverfront park. Lifelong Ossining resident Don DeBar was there.
You'll see cars that are still parked along the fence down there that have a water line up at their hood. Some of the cars, in fact, didn't start out there. They started out further away from the river, and they were washed down by the...
There's plenty more storm damage in Ossining, but these 2 lots are particularly interesting because a developer is in the process of building big apartment complexes on these 2 pieces of land. What would have happened if Hurricane Floyd had come through after those apartments had already been built?
It would all be underwater. Maybe it would be like the first condominium houseboat in history.
But the village mayor says the flooding wasn't that bad, and even so, this was a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Nothing. People lived here all their lives. We can't find anything in the history books. This was a flash flood, and we learned what a flash flood was.
But DeBar says they already knew. He took these videos of storms in '92 and '93, and they show floodwaters spilling over the riverbank and onto the site of one proposed apartment complex.
The developers from out of town, I don't know if they're aware of what happened here in '92 and '93. The village government certainly, because they're so pro this development and they've closed their eyes to everything else, probably didn't tell them.
But they know about it now. In Ossining, New York, I'm Kent Pierce, Regional News Network.
The safety of our drinking water is an ongoing concern.
Quick break on your Thursday morning edition of News 12. A mecca of entertainment and shopping comes to downtown New Rochelle. Coming up, we'll take a look at what New Rock City has to offer. And some CSEA workers take advantage of the crowds to take to the streets. We'll tell you why. Stay with us. Cornerstone of New Rochelle's downtown revitalization is about to open its doors. News 12's Rob Hoyle was on hand for a special VIP tour of New Rock City.
New Rock City in New Rochelle opened in grand fashion Wednesday evening to hundreds of invited guests, including the governor.
This is downtown New Rochelle. It isn't Disneyland. This isn't the Sun Belt. This is downtown in a city in New York State.
The $190 million family entertainment, retail, and business complex is expected to revitalize downtown New Rochelle and create hundreds of new jobs.
Well, the whole concept of building this has generated other builders coming in here. And now we have this tremendous entertainment center. You know, up north we have our parks and recreation areas, and now we have New Rock City down in the south.
New Rock City is now home to Westchester's only giant screen IMAX theater. 4 levels of shopping and entertainment, including its own regulation-size NHL hockey rink, and the second rink for figure skaters that looks like a country lake. Some of the restaurants are already open, still to come office space and even a hotel. But not everyone on this invitation-only tour is pleased with all the patrons the center will attract.
Because I think this town needs departments. They don't need nothing like this because that's going to gather kids, and even when the kids are in school, they got to come back out here. And I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't think the security is going to be all that great around here.
But New Rochelle's mayor says New Rock will be one of the safest places in the entire city.
We've added a police precinct here. We've added, I think, 16 or 18 security guards at all times, 175 security cameras. It is the most secure area that I can think of in the city of New Rochelle, so people have nothing to worry about there.
The celebration here is expected to go through the night. New Rock City opens to the public this Friday. In New Rochelle, Rob Hoyle, News 12, Westchester.
Well, 5 million people are expected to visit New Rock City each year and bring in an estimated $8 million in sales and property tax revenue. And some members of the Civil Service Employees Association took the opportunity to protest during the New Rock City celebration. The union's 77,000 state employees have been
377-3378 for additional information. Yonkers Hudson River Fest, a day your whole family will enjoy.
The hurricane may have passed, but for many New York area businesses, the hard work is just beginning. You can count on Granger Industrial Supply's 73 years of experience to help keep your business running. What do you need today? Your Granger branch is stocked with truckloads of emergency supplies and equipment. generators, sump pumps, wet vacs, pressure washers, tarps, motors, and more. All ready for pickup, shipping, or delivery today. Just call your Granger branch in Elmsford at 914-347-6800 or the Newburgh branch at 914-567-6900 to place orders. Or if it's more convenient, you can also order online through Granger.com for will call and shipping orders. However you choose to order, Granger is here for you with more stuff faster.
Night-night to the little ones. Sleep time and sweet dreams. This is Delilah on 100.7 WHUD.
Hi, Delilah.
Welcome to the program. Who's on your heart tonight?
My wife.
Tell me about your bride, your beloved.
She's given me 2 beautiful kids and a lovely life. Recently, I was found by a doctor to have a tumor in my body, and it's been a real frightening part of my life. And she's been there supporting me and helping me all through it.
And how are you feeling today?
Feeling a lot better.
Have you had chemo?
No.
No? Surgery?
Yes.
How's your heart holding up?
Other than nervous, pretty good.
Has it given you a new perspective on life?
Given me a new perspective on everything. It's made me appreciate what I have a lot more than I already did. Made me appreciate the people around me, my family, and give me a whole new outlook.
Tonight it's very clear as we're both lying here. There's so many things I want to say. I will always love you. I would never leave you alone.
Ripping down power lines, a familiar scene across Westchester Thursday night.
For an update on how Con Edison is coping with power outages in the county, we're joined now by phone by spokeswoman Gail Panapacker. Gail, what is the latest?
Fight what Floyd left behind. News 12's Yolanda Robinson continues our team coverage from that devastated village.
Ossining residents and businesses are digging out and cleaning up the mess left behind by Tropical Storm Floyd. The storm hit northern Westchester with a vengeance, and local residents are calling Floyd the storm of their lifetime.
I never seen anything like this before, no. And I lived on Naval Street for 40 years, since 1960.
Once daybreak came, there was much more damage to see. Floodwaters toppled trucks and vans like matchbox cars. The Ossining train station was virtually deserted after floodwater submerged the parking lot and tracks, completely shutting down Metro North train service. And several cars still remain in a watery tomb.
I can't believe it happened, but I guess, you know, it had to happen.
Others tried to dig their cars out of the mud at the train station, but debris from trees made that job even more labor-intensive. Many local roads did return to normal after the storm, but for some local merchants, vandalism and looting was another concern.
But it's really dangerous back there, and I don't know what they're going back there to get.
Yolanda Robinson, News 12 Westchester.
And our Mary Calvi was also in Ossining today, touring the flood-ravaged area. She filed this report earlier.
Buildings collapsed, trucks and cars crushed, and a village trying to recover. It destroyed everything?
Yes, everything, you know. And, I don't know how to explain to you, you know.
It was a bad situation.
Yes, a bad situation.
Floyd's fury turned Ossining streets into waterfalls. Devastating rains pounded more than 10 inches of water in a matter of hours. Rains this village never could have prepared for.
It's terrible. A lot of people's cars got damaged, the homes or...
10 armored cars, 40 National Guardsmen on alert and assisting in the worst hit areas.
We've been assisting with traffic control, roads out, trees down, and we have some roads that are caved in. I have MP station at that site.
Well, floodwaters rose so high in parts of the town of Cortland that residents there had to evacuate. It is impossible to get into some of the houses on Furnace Dock Road because front yards have turned into lakes. Now, other residents are considering themselves well off even though they have a lot of water damage. At one home, the pond overflowed and sent a wooden playhouse into a bridge. But homeowner Joanne Feeney says it could have been a lot worse.
It has taken toys and basketballs, and my daughter's playhouse is smashed against a bridge. But all in all, I think we're lucky because I have my power, I have my phone, and I didn't get any water in my house.
Well, there was also serious flooding at the Blue Mountain Middle School in Cortland with water overflowing into the parking lot. And also in Cortland, they are certainly feeling Floyd's fury at the Rock and Horse Steakhouse on Albany Post Road. The foundation of that building has been severely damaged and it's too dangerous to go inside. Water surged from the dam there and into the parking lot, and there were some scary moments during the height of Thursday night's storm as floodwaters trapped people inside the structure.
We were concerned about getting them out, and it took rescue teams to tie off and get in there and hook everybody up to lines and pull them out.
No word yet on how much damage was done or when the restaurant will reopen.
Residents in Briarcliff Manor and Irvington have one problem that others, most others anyway, don't tonight. They have to boil their drinking water. The Westchester County Health Department says everyone in Irvington and Briarcliff should boil their water for 3 to 5 minutes before cooking or drinking until further notice. The problem? Floyd's powerful rains stirred up sediment in the Croton Reservoir, and there could be bacteria in the water. And again, that boil order is in effect for Briarcliff and Irvington until further notice.
Time now to turn to our Professor Rob Eisenson and talk a little bit about why we had so much rain and why so many problems from Floyd.
It's unbelievable.
Well, you know, I can account for the rain. The problems, well, that's out of my hands. So is exactly why the rain is. But,
right.
You know, it's a tropical storm. It was that combination with a front that stretched along the coast. I'm going to actually do a graphic on that a little later in the show. But let's talk about some nice things. Let's talk about the video outside from tonight when the weather's a lot calmer. We have a video from Larkin Park in Yonkers, and temperatures today were pretty nice, actually. A little cool behind that system, 70 degrees. The low this morning, 59. Some nice cool air coming in behind that tropical system. The record high, well, we're pretty far off. That's 90 degrees set back in 1970. There are the times of sunrise and sunset. Now let's go to the maps and talk about this nice stretch of weather from the Carolinas all the way north and west through the Great Lakes. That is our weekend weather for Saturday and Sunday. Floyd, well, it's all the way out there, actually spinning now off the screen off to the right. Let's get a closer view of the northeast and see where the rain is falling, because they're still getting some pretty good showers across parts of central and eastern New England. There's the clouds. Notice that we've cleared now from about the mid-Hudson Valley south and west through Pennsylvania. And again, that's our nice weather coming in overnight and for the good part of the weekend. Really nice weekend coming up at comfortable temperatures and a good deal of sunshine. But there are the showers here through Portland and Boston, but no problem off to the south and west. And again, that is our weekend weather. So tonight, we're talking about some nice temperatures down in the 50s, maybe even a couple of 40s. Comfortably cool is what we're calling it. As far as tomorrow, lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 70s, sunny delight. And here's a 5-day forecast. It looks good through the weekend, as I said. Monday looks pretty good. Some clouds coming Tuesday. Right now, I'm just talking about a few showers for Tuesday, but I don't want to scare anybody. It's not a tropical system, but some of the computer models are indicating maybe a more significant storm around Tuesday or Wednesday with possibly some heavy rain.
Okay.
But what stays away? Let's not worry about it right now.
And safe to say that whole drought problem is over?
Yes, it is definitely over. It's over.
Okay. Thanks, Professor.
Well, here's some numbers for you. If you need any help with a place to stay, clothes, or maybe your power is out, we have some very important phone numbers for you. One, the Westchester chapter of the American Red Cross. That phone number is 946-6500.
Con Edison's helpline is 1-800-75-CON-ED, 1-800-75-CON-ED.
And if you have questions about the health matters or your water, the boil order in Irvington and Briarcliff, for example, you can call the County Health Department. Their number, 637-4700. Again, 637-4700. And joining us now is one of the hardest working men in Westchester these days, Dr. Peter Can with the American Red Cross. You people have been very, very busy over the last 48 hours or so. Where do things stand right now? I know at one point you had 6 shelters up and running. Are they still
No, actually we had 7 shelters, and they were all closed this morning because they were really emergency shelters that arose as needed to take care of various things like the commuters being stranded and some other things that were not expected. What we've now done is that the day has been better today, and the sun has been out and the rain has been stopping and the water is starting to drain down. We have one shelter open which will now remain open in cooperation with the Montrose VA Hospital up in Montrose, New York. And that facility will be there for any folks that need a place to stay, that cannot remain in their homes. We're now into the recovery phase, and very typically the families are doing everything they can to clean their homes out. They want to get back in, they want to get their basements pumped out. And as they get themselves cleaned up, they may need a place to stay at night. They are not with family and friends, or an emergency, water is still creating problems here and there, sporadically in the county. So this facility will exist at least for the next 2 to 3 days, so that anybody that does need a safe place to stay will have one.
And Dr. Can, you mentioned the commuters that were stuck at so many train stations in Westchester County because obviously Metro-North had to stop the trains because the water problem got so severe, and people literally stranded because the water was so high and the flooding was so high they had to stay in the train stations. What did you do with all those people?
Well, actually what happened is they provided buses, and since we had some of our emergency shelters open, particularly the Rye Country Day School, they brought them to us in the buses. And we sort of kept them there overnight, gave them a good breakfast this morning, and had buses come and get them and take them back to the trains. Although the trains this morning still weren't going north, they were going south, from Tarrytown south on the Hudson line and from White Plains south on the Harlem line.
What was the biggest challenge the Red Cross faced here? I mean, you guys were some of the first people that we talked to very early in the week. Like on Monday we might have talked to you, and you said, people, get ready. This is going to be a serious storm. Do you think everything was done to prepare people appropriately for what was coming?
We were saying, people get ready, and unfortunately a lot of people procrastinated or just didn't believe the storm was going to come, or didn't believe it was going to be what it was. And the biggest challenge, quite frankly, is for those communities that we did some pre-planning with as early as Tuesday and Wednesday, things went reasonably well. It was all of a sudden these calls that were coming in, panic calls, at 8 and 9 o'clock at night. We need a shelter, we need this, we need that. By 10 o'clock at night, as we were trying to respond, we literally got to the point where it had been so late in the game, we were trying to help. We could perhaps get personnel to a location, but we couldn't get cots and blankets there. Well, we were facing a lot of that kind of issue.
Well, one thing that took almost everybody by surprise, and I believe your folks as well, was people thought it was going to hit the Sound Shore very hard, because that's where the water is, and everybody thought that was going to be the trouble spot, but it turned out to be northern Westchester.
Oh, absolutely. We had all looked to the Sound Shore as being the area that we were going to have the most trouble with in Nassau County and Suffolk County, and it quite literally took us all unaware. It crossed that, and your weathermen would know more about that line, but there's a line that runs across the county sort of diagonally from the southwest to the northeast, and it was that northwest section that took the heaviest rain. We on the Sound Shore had some winds, and we maybe had 6 inches of rain, but up north they had in some places as many as 18 inches of rain, and the winds were absolutely furious.
Took a lot of us by surprise.
It sure did.
Dr. Peter Can, American Red Cross, thank you so much, and good luck to you going forward.
Thank you very much.
Get some sleep.
Get some sleep,
going.
Certainly. Thanks, Dr. Can. Well, we should tell you some more information. All county parkways are now reopened with one big exception, the Sawmill River Parkway. It remains shut down from Tuckahoe Road in Yonkers to I-684 in Bedford due to the flooding, but we're told by officials that it could certainly reopen later tonight or tomorrow morning, but that will depend, of course, on the floodwaters. Now, besides flooded roadways, all the rain has knocked Metro-North service for a loop. This weekend, only partial holiday-like service can be expected. Now, rain washed out tracks in several areas, and today's high winds also caused some problems. Meanwhile, Westchester Beeline bus service is almost completely suspended in northern Westchester. 13 routes have been knocked out by flooding and 5 routes rerouted. The only routes running normally right now are 12, 14, 16, and Like Rail. Now, for more information on Beeline bus service, you can call this number, 682-2020. Again, that number, 682-2020.
And when we come back on this special hour-long night edition, some of the other news of the day for you. A gunman takes hostages, sets fire to a house, and keeps police and firemen at bay in New Rochelle. We'll have that story coming up.
But first, a look at your winning New York lottery numbers for tonight.
Hey, you want to see our new stuff? Your Baby and Toy Superstore has added over 3,000 square feet of nothing but furniture for the growing years. More bunk beds, more trundles, more modular than ever before, and much more than anyone else. Come see and buy our new stuff. Famous brand names at our famous discount prices. Your Baby and Toy Superstore, 11 Forest Street, Stamford, Connecticut. Call us, 1-800-541-BABY. Write it down, 1-800-541-BABY.
If a penny saved is a penny earned, you're about to earn a lot.
McDonald's has a new way to save your pennies. A great new Mickey D's Dollar Deal. Get a 6-piece chicken McNuggets for $1 or a 20-piece for just $3. 6-piece for $1 or 20-piece for $3. But hurry in, this dollar deal ends soon.
Research. When you're buying a car, you got to do a lot of it. So go ahead, read the magazines, go online, find out all you can. And while you're at it, check out the new Oldsmobile, a line of cars and trucks designed to inspire. I'm ready. The Oldsmobile Smart Choice Sales Event with great 0% APR financing on every 99 Oldsmobile. See your Oldsmobile dealer for details. Oldsmobile, proud supporter of the 1999 Ryder Cup matches.
You didn't care that I was divorced with a bad credit history, or that I'm on disability, or that nobody else would refinance my home. You saw past all that and helped me out. Paid off 3 mortgages, 5 credit cards, and found a little extra for home improvements. So here I am today with good credit again and a nice house. Thank you, Money Store. You believed in me. Sincerely, Barbara Labby.
The Money Store. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
A bizarre and dangerous armed standoff with police in New Rochelle Friday morning. A man with a history of domestic violence shot his ex-girlfriend and another man before setting the woman's home on fire. News 12's Tracy Everson reports.
Amateur video captures 40-year-old Robert Ruiz sitting on the steps of his ex-girlfriend's home, a home he set on fire after shooting her and another man. As the home burns, police talk to Ruiz, and eventually he surrenders, falling into the arms of New Rochelle Police Lieutenant Robert Delano.
This individual had problems with the female victim in the past, domestic-type, dispute-type problems, and I have spoken to him in the past, so he remembered me from past conversations.
Police say Ruiz shot his ex-girlfriend Ann Albert in the leg and hit her with the gun. She escaped her home on Whitestone Place in New Rochelle, as did her 2 sons, her father, and an uncle. Another man who was with Albert when she left her home, 41-year-old Dan Mecca of Yonkers, was shot by Ruiz in the neck. A neighbor next door heard the first gunshot around 5:30 Friday morning.
I saw a man harassing my neighbor in the driveway here. And he was pushing her up the stairs, and I was just about to yell, "Leave her alone," and I saw a gun in his hand.
New Rochelle called Yonkers for help, and the police department brought in its armored vehicle as well as special tactical unit, but no shots were fired.
He kept saying, "Shoot me now, and that's the way he looked like he was going to go.
Police continued to negotiate with the man for several hours, and firefighters could do nothing to stop the flames. The home has burned to the ground. There is nothing left except for the foundation, and the chimney is still standing. Fire officials could not come in and battle this blaze because the situation was too dangerous. Their home in ashes, Albert and her family will be staying with relatives. In New Rochelle, Tracy Everson, News 12.
Ruiz is now charged with attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. The 2 shooting victims are both listed in stable condition.
Rob Eisenson joins us now, hopefully with some answers as to why Westchester got so hard hit by Furious Floyd.
Yeah, Furious Floyd, you know.
You like that one, huh?
Yeah, I love it. It was very furious, no doubt about it. Normally, tropical storm moving as fast as this one did, 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. We've been talking about, both Joe Rayo and myself, exactly what happened, and we keep talking about this front that was sitting along the coast. I prepared a graphic for you, maybe give you a better idea of what we think happened. Why was there 10, 12 inches of rain in some areas from north central New Jersey, northward and eastward through northern Westchester, Rockland County, and into parts of Putnam, and even into Connecticut. There's Floyd, okay, sitting there early yesterday, and we also had this front. We also noticed that some areas were warm, some areas were cool. This is the warm half of the front here. This is the cool half of the front. And just like when a cold front moves through the area in the summertime, you get thunderstorms building up. Cold air kind of lifts the air ahead of it. And so what we had here was Floyd spinning around. We had all the moisture spinning around with it, all the heavy rain. And as this thing started to head up the coast, all this heavy rain kind of got lifted up over that frontal boundary. Now, where was that frontal boundary sitting? From North Jersey, through Rockland County, through northern Westchester, and up towards Danbury. And that's the area that really saw an enhancement of this rain. So for many hours, late yesterday afternoon and during the evening, instead of a half an inch of rain like you might normally get with a tropical storm, or maybe an inch of rain, how about 1, 2, maybe 3 inches of rain per hour? Real heavy rain focused in a narrow area right along there. Now, everybody got 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, except those places that were very close to that front. And those are the areas that really got hit hard from the fury of Tropical Storm Floyd. Sunshine for Saturday, so things are definitely looking better. High pressure moving in. This frontal system, it looks like it's not that far away, but it will be several days before we have to worry about it. Right now, we just think some showers. It might be a little more serious than that. We'll watch it for you right here on News 12 over the next couple of days. Low 50s, mostly clear. Breezy this evening, really breeze is dying down, and as we go through the overnight period, should be getting a little more calm. Breeze is picking up a bit during the day. Saturday, mid-70s, lots of sunshine, probably no clouds at all. Here's that 5-day forecast, and we'll talk about better weather, or a continuation of the nice weather for Sunday. Maybe some clouds as we head into Monday, and then perhaps more serious clouds Tuesday into Wednesday. As I said, right now we're talking about just a few showers, but it might be a little more complicated than that. But certainly for the next 2 days at least, maybe 3, some real nice mid-September weather. And as you know, mid-September weather can be real nice.
Yeah, it was gorgeous out there today. I mean, except for all the water standing around. People don't think about hurricanes in Westchester as normal, obviously. We get nor'easters. That track is similar to a nor'easter, what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hugging the coast, heading up across western Long Island, New York City. And, you know, what we had as far as the winds, that was comparable to what we would get with a good nor'easter. It was the rain. The thing is, nor'easters are winter storms. They don't have the moisture. I think Joe Ray was talking about this, about that question about what would this be in terms of snow. We don't get that juicy an atmosphere. That's a term that meteorologists like to use when it's the cooler months. But in the summer months or in the fall months, when the ocean's very warm and that supplies the moisture, you can really wring out the atmosphere. You'd never get that intense precipitation in the winter. You could get the winds, but not that much rain.
What did he say about that? I want to know the answer. If this would have been snow,
12 inches of rain, he said, well, if you use that conversion, the standard 10-to-1 conversion, you're talking about 120 inches of snow. But you just would never get that much moisture in the atmosphere. It just can't happen in the wintertime. So it's fun to think about, though.
Yeah, we don't have
I'm a skier. It's fun to think about.
We don't have to worry about Gert. She's down in the Atlantic.
Gert is still a very strong hurricane. It might be threatening Bermuda, but right now we don't think it's going to get close to the East Coast. So there's some good news.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Thank you, Professor. Now to something a little lighter.
Indeed, a gentleman who has his customers in stitches.
Yes, he makes wearing a hat, a t-shirt, or a jacket a very personal thing.
And he's Scott Haney's Senior of the Week.
In this business, the whole feeling. At age 65, most people are thinking about retirement, but not our Senior of the Week. The business you're looking at was started 4 short years ago when Roy Wallach was 65.
At a point of my life when I got into this, I wanted to make a go of a business.
And so each weekday in New Rochelle, Roy and his wife Margie open up all sports athletic products on North Avenue. And while space is limited, the business is a dream come true.
You deal with young people. I think that's what keeps me young. And you make people happy. You really make people happy. And that's the nice part of it. Absolutely. I mean, you put a lot of smiles on people's faces. And you know, how often do people get an opportunity to be in business and just put smiles on people's faces?
On top of those smiles, the business has taken off and Roy and Margie couldn't be happier.
Roy really likes to work, and he doesn't have a lot of hobbies. He likes to be around people, and that's a big part of this business, and it's very satisfying to him.
I treat all my customers like family. I don't know whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, but you know, that's the way it is. I mean, that's my nature, and I'm not going to change at this age.
All right, and hot off the presses, we have the number 12. Isn't that amazing? That's because we work at News 12. And right behind that is my age, 22. That's pretty amazing. 22, that is my age. Roy Wallach, because you didn't give up and you're still going strong on your way to 70, you're the Senior of the Week. I'm Scott Haney for News 12 Westchester.
Yeah, I think Scott wishes he was 22.
22 times 2?
We won't know. He's not quite that old. We won't give away his age, though.
All right, coming up in sports, the top 2 teams in the American League, the Indians and our Yankees, square off in Cleveland.
And local high school football teams, guess what? They feel the fury of Floyd, too. Sports is next.
News is happening all the time. There's only one place to get all the information you need. It's News 12 Westchester.
And with News 12, they give you everything from the major breaking local news to local weather, local sports. All of it interests me.
News 12 knows what affects your life because we're right here in Westchester.
It feels like it's part of the neighborhood, News 12. You know, it's what you live all the time.
We're in your community, bringing you the news you need to know. News 12 Westchester. We're closer to you.
Stay on top of your hometown news with News 12's Chopper 12.
The question is, who do you trust? Before you buy a mattress by phone, you want to be sure of who you're dealing with. We sell the world's finest quality mattresses. And you simply cannot get a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. With delivery when you want, same day, next day. 3 generations, over 70 years, 200 stores standing behind you. You know who to trust. Call 1-800-SLEEPYS.
Breast cancer is something that's not carried in our family. It doesn't run in our family?
No, there's no breast cancer in my family.
No one in my family.
Breast cancer is caused by a gene. And we don't have it. Well, I've lived this long without breast cancer. I'm sure my chances of getting it are small.
I feel that my chances are less at my age.
I'm pretty sure my chances of getting it are small.
I've lived this long without breast cancer.
Many women at risk for breast cancer don't know it. But by calling for this free video, you'll learn about a set of questions your doctor has that can actually predict your chances of getting breast cancer.
Why would I want to know if I'm at risk if there's nothing I can do?
Well, if you're at risk when there's nothing you can do about it.
There is something you can do. Today, your doctor has ways that may help reduce your chances of getting breast cancer if you find you're at high risk. So call for this video. It's free and it's priceless. Because high risk or not, every woman owes it to herself to find out. There is something you can do.
Glenn Peterson has 3 growing kids and a budget to stick to, so ShopRite's helping him provide the best for his family at low prices. The chicken he buys is grade A fresh. Our produce is delivered daily, and Glenn's Price Plus card helps him save even more money.
And you'll save money too this week with your Price Plus Club card. When you buy a 24-pack of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, or Lipton Brisk Tea, you'll pay just $3.99. And 6 cans of Campbell's Pork and Beans are $1 with your Price Plus Club card.
Floyd really had an impact on everything. Even the high school football games were canceled. Walt Fowler's here with all the sports activity or lack of activity to tell us all about it.
Some hope's dashed for at least a day anyway.
Yeah.
Imagine practicing for an entire month, then watching virtually everyone else around the county play their season openers last week, only to have your first game, scheduled for tonight, pushed back an extra 24 hours. Irvington High School knows that unfortunate feeling. The fury of Floyd has caused Irvington's season opener against Pleasantville at home to be moved to tomorrow night. Kickoff at 7:30. Tonight's Byram Hills game at Hen Hut has also been rescheduled. That one for tomorrow afternoon, game time 1:30. The two teams that met for the Class D Section Championship meet again. Defending champ Valhalla heads to Bronxville tomorrow afternoon. And the White Plains Tigers gave their fans plenty to cheer about in Week 1. The Tigers down New Rochelle at home this week. White Plains hits the road to take on Gorton in Yonkers. New Rochelle plays its home opener against Ramapo. In baseball, a couple of rugged righties hope to have the right stuff in Cleveland. Both the Yankees starter Roger Clemens and the Indians' Jarrett Wright have struggled this season, and Wright remains on the wrong track. Top of the first, facing Paul O'Neill. O'Neill bangs an opposite field double. This brings home Chuck Knobloch and Derek Jeter. Yankees out to a quick 2-0 lead. In the top of the second, O'Neill roughs up Wright big time. Hello, Dayton. A 3-run homer. Yankees out to a 5-0 lead. O'Neill finished with 6 RBIs. The Yankees take the Indians 9-4. The Yanks tie Cleveland for the best record in the American League. The Mets return home for a weekend series with the Phillies. The Amazons headed in just a game behind the first-place Atlanta Braves in the NL East. Al Leiter with a rough night in the first inning. Loaded the bases to start the game, then Mike Lieberthal's shot hit third base, got by Robin Ventura, fills out to a 1-0 lead. Top of the fourth, Ron Gant delivers an RBI single. Phillies went up 4-0. Leiter gave up 6 runs in 5 innings. Phillies take the Mets 8-5. Phillies have won just 2 of their last 20 games. The Braves, the Expos, and the Carters in Atlanta. Bottom of the 7th inning, game tied at 4. The Braves' Brett Boone gives Atlanta the lead with his 19th homer this season. The Expos tied the game in the bottom of the 9th, but the Braves win 6-5. Chipper Jones hit his 41st homer in the bottom of the 10th. So the Braves now 2 games up on the Mets in the NL East. In the NFL, the banged-up Jets will hobble off to Buffalo for a Sunday night game against the Bills. Backup quarterback Rick Meyer takes over the reins for Vinny Testaverde, who's out for the season with a ruptured Achilles tendon. Testaverde's injury has everyone jumping off the Jets to the Super Bowl bandwagon. Well, almost everyone.
You can't look at it like the season. You look at it as this is the second week of the season. And you have to look at it that way. It's not the season. You can't be looking down and say, where are we going to be in December because this happened then.
Testaverde is just one of 6 regulars who have been sidelined. Wayne Crabbett, Otis Smith, Eric Green, Jason Ferguson, and Leon Johnson are also out with injuries. The Giants play their home opener Sunday against the Redskins. Thanks to the Giants' defense, Big Blue got out of Tampa with a win in Week 1. The Giants' D scored both of the team's touchdowns. The Buccaneers coughed up 5 turnovers. The Giants' defense expects a much tougher test against the Redskins, who racked up 35 points last week with Brad Johnson at quarterback.
I think Brad Johnson really brings him a sense of confidence as a quarterback. He's got weapons. I mean, there's no question with those guys. I mean, he's got targets all over.
Quite a contrast on the other side of the ball as well. The Giants' offense did absolutely nothing in Week 1. The Redskins' defense gave up 41 points to the Cowboys, including 21 points in the 4th quarter.
So something there's got to give. Maybe the Giants can score some points just like the Cowboys did.
They showed some good offense in the preseason. Tampa Bay has a very good defense, much better than the Redskins, so I would expect the offense to get in the end zone a few times this weekend.
And can the Jets do it this weekend without Testaverde?
Tough playing on the road. Meyer's first game, a lot of pressure on him. I think Buffalo may take this game.
Ooh. And what about the season? Have you jumped off the old Jets to the Super Bowl bandwagon?
Maybe not everyone was on it to begin with.
Smart man, Walt Fowler. All right, time for a final look at the forecast, this being the weekend forecast with the professor.
We normally do maybe a wake-up weather, but I think everyone should sleep in tomorrow and rest after what we went through the last day. It's going to be nice in the morning if you're waking up early and even if you're waking up late, but the whole day is going to be nice. In fact, the whole weekend should be great. I think Saturday will be completely cloudless, 75, a little breeze, really a delightful day, comfortable humidities, and again on Sunday, maybe just a couple of clouds or maybe just one cloud. So both days look delightful. Even into Monday, things should be good. Then maybe around the middle part of next week, we might have another chance of some rain, but not like what we had a day ago.
Please, no more of that.
No problem. Definitely nothing like that.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Well, we want to recap our top story for you, of course, the fury of Floyd and the cleanup that's going on in the aftermath of Tropical Storm. The state of emergency declared by County Executive Andy Spano for areas north of I-287 remains in effect.
The Sawmill Parkway is still closed from Tuckahoe Road in Yonkers to I-684, but could reopen overnight.
And Governor Pataki tours parts of Westchester which suffered severe damage by the storm, and he asked for federal disaster relief from Washington. No word just yet on if that will come through.
And that is the News 12 expanded night edition for tonight, but we want to tell you all that you can tune into News 12 throughout the day Saturday for much more on the cleanup after Floyd. I'm Janine Rose.
I'm Brian Conybeare. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy your weekend and let it be a dry one.
The question is there really a difference? Before you buy any mattress, you want to be sure it's right. We sell the world's finest quality mattresses, and you simply cannot get a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. 3 generations of mattress professionals, over 70 years, 200 stores standing behind you. You know there really is a difference. Call 1-800-SLEEPYS.
What's inside this capsule may help prevent the flu, colds, and even ease arthritis. It's vitamin E, and you learn about it in Reader's Digest. This ancient art has become a little too popular with today's kids. How do you stop them from getting tattoos? The answer is in Reader's Digest. No magazine gives you so much up-to-date advice while bringing you fascinating stories about inspiring individuals.
Call now to get your free issue of Reader's Digest. Experience stories that touch your life and articles that help your life. And if you like what you read, we'll continue your subscription with 12 more issues for just $16.98. So you'll also receive free this deluxe camera that takes beautiful panoramic pictures.
There's a way to take off weight without giving up your favorite foods, and you found it in Reader's Digest.
Call now to order. You'll get the first issue free and this deluxe camera free.
Reader's Digest. Stories about living, advice about life.
This season, I took fashion from the runway to the highway to fight breast cancer. For General Motors Concept Cure, I designed this GMC Sierra You Can Win. Pledge and enter. Let's get on the road to a cure.
This season, I have fashioned a way to fight breast cancer for General Motors Concept Cure. I created this Oldsmobile Alero You Can Win. Pledge and enter. So breast cancer goes out of style forever.
On 12 tonight, inspecting the damage the day after, Governor Pataki asked for federal disaster relief for Westchester County.
County parkways are slowly reopening, but the Sawmill is more like a river than a parkway.
And a tense hostage standoff in New Rochelle ends with a home going up in flames.
Those stories plus a beautiful weekend forecast.
And Walt Fowler with sports next on a special expanded 1-hour night edition.
24 hours, every day. Westchester's own news network. This is News 12 Westchester. Now, the night edition.
Coping with the mess that Floyd has left behind.
Westchester County begins a massive cleanup effort in the midst of incredible flooding and damage left behind by the tropical storm. Good evening, everyone. I'm Janine Rose.
And I'm Brian Conybeare. It is truly an amazing sight. Massive flooding from Yonkers to Yorktown and Ossining and many other Westchester communities as well. They are trying to cope with collapsed roadways, downed bridges, and floods so deep that buildings and cars are simply submerged. Here in Westchester County, several thousand residents are still without power. A state of emergency remains in effect for northern Westchester, and hundreds of homeowners and business owners are filing insurance claims for damages that are sure to run into the millions. We begin our team coverage tonight in Yonkers. The damage throughout Westchester so severe, Governor Pataki toured the area today and is requesting federal disaster assistance. He met with the county executive and other officials on Clooney Road in Yonkers, where residents literally needed boats to get into and out of their flood-ravaged homes. News 12's Rob Hoyle has been covering the developments, and he joined us now from the newsroom. Rob?
Brian, even the governor could not believe his eyes when he toured Clooney Avenue in Yonkers. And while northern Westchester was hit extremely hard by Floyd, folks in the southern part of the county were not spared, and the governor wants to help. Yonkers police patrol Clooney Avenue by boat. Close to 50 homes here are severely flooded. In places, the water is more than 4 feet deep, making boats and canoes the only method of travel. Police officers have been helping residents get to and from their homes and are doing everything they can to help out, even if it's just making a phone call.
Head here, she'll call your mom. You're welcome.
Some estimate their losses to be in the thousands due to the flooding. Others were able to move their things to drier ground before the water started pouring in.
We're fine until this morning. And around 7:30, it just started coming in the back door. And then it started coming in the side door.
Tell me what it's like inside your house right now.
The basement's totally flooded. Everything from the basement's upstairs on the second floor, so you can't really move around much.
Kirk Daly had a foot of water in his garage and considers himself lucky.
We walked around the block, and they're at least on the 8 to 9 feet of water. So a foot in, we felt all right. It could have certainly been worse.
And while a lot has been lost throughout the county, help is on the way. Governor George Pataki got a first-hand look at the damage Friday afternoon when he joined Yonkers Mayor John Spencer and other officials to assess the damage.
We've had a lot of natural disasters, fires and ice storms, but I've never seen anything like this.
Pataki declared a state of emergency for Westchester in the early hours of the storm and is now requesting that the county be declared a federal emergency disaster area as well.
We've had a great working relationship with the Federal Emergency Management Office, so we're hopeful that they will recognize this, as it obviously is, as a natural disaster that needs not just state help, but federal help too.
County Executive Andy Spano also toured the site and says state and federal dollars are much needed to help get things back to normal.
We want to make sure that after this is all over, that people who have damages can get some money or some way to repair their homes. And that's what this is all about. There are grants, there are small loans that can be given with small interest rates, and that's why this is so important.
Meanwhile, for these residents, it's just a matter of waiting until the floodwaters recede. Now, this is the only method of travel for people who live on Clooney Avenue, so police will be constantly going up and down the street to see if anybody needs any help or they just need to get out of their house for a little while to go to the store or whatever they need to do. There are 2 police boats on the scene. What should somebody do if they live in one of these houses that can't get out in case of emergency?
If they have a cell phone, call 911 or the Yonkers Police Department, and if not, just come out onto their front porch. We're here most of the night, going up and down. Just yell to us.
Emergency crews are working around the clock here and will continue to do so.
And we're just going to work our way through it as best we can. I'm very proud of the residents and the way they're handling the adversity that they got struck with, but they know that we've done everything we can to help them, and we'll continue to do so.
Now the floodwaters have started to recede on Clooney Avenue. At last check, water levels has dropped about 10 to 12 inches. Now that's since this morning. Reporting from the newsroom, Rob Hoyle, now back to you.
Rob, you were out there much of the day, and as we saw, you were even up and down the street or the river, whatever you want to call it at this point, in that boat. How do you think the residents are holding up overall there?
Well, as Mayor John Spencer said, they're holding up surprisingly well. I think the governor's visit today really helped to boost morale, that let these people know that something's going to happen and they're going to be reimbursed for the damages they received.
Any word from officials there on how long before they think the water levels will go down and things on Clooney Avenue might return to normal?
Right. What they're doing right now is they're just waiting for the water in the river alongside, which runs alongside Clooney Avenue, to go down. Once that happens, they can start pumping the water off Clooney Avenue back into the river. But right now, they're pretty much at the same level, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
All right, Rob Hoyle, very interesting and very, very bizarre video watching that flood. Thank you very much.
And Brian, northern Westchester was even harder hit than the south. In Chappaqua, Tropical Storm Floyd turned one neighborhood into an unstoppable river. Floodwaters trapped motorists, destroyed homes, and left some residents fearing for their lives even. News 12's Kelsey Kittner continues our team coverage.
This is usually a small creek, but Tropical Storm Floyd turned it into a powerful river along Seven Bridges Road in Chappaqua. and this is calm compared to what Linda Wheaton experienced Thursday night.
The guy behind me said when he saw the top of my car disappear under the water, he thought, she's dead. And I can't even believe that I got out the other side. It was horrible.
Linda made it through the deep black water and escaped with just minor injuries. Emergency rescue crews used boats and divers to help 13 motorists escape the floods in the Millwood section of Chappaqua.
The water, when we first arrived, was up to the bumpers, and by the time we got ourselves situated to start the rescue, it was up over their hoods and over their windshields.
Officials say on Thursday night this road was literally a raging river. The water had so much force it snapped the road in half. And now officials say it could be months before it's reconstructed and open again to the public. The water even pushed this 18-ton fire truck off the road. And Jane Cooper says the heavy rains flooded her basement and turned her house into a moat.
We were scared to death last night for our lives. We really thought that the water was going to take our house.
Now it's time for the enormous task of cleaning up. But for many who live in this area, they're just relieved Floyd's fury is finally over. In Chappaqua, Kelsey Kittner, News 12, Westchester.
More truly amazing pictures there. Well, meanwhile, they're dealing with a web of tangled wires caused by a downed tree in one Yonkers neighborhood. Residents along Borcher Avenue were still without power tonight after Floyd uprooted a tree, which is completely blocking the roadway there. The tree also ripped apart several strands of power lines and knocked over a lamppost when it came crashing down onto the street.
And you could see all the sizzling go right down the last 3 or 4 houses. And this thing has been sitting this way since Thursday night. I called about 6 different people and I don't get any satisfaction from anybody. Nobody seems to be wanting to do anything about it. So I don't know what else to do.
Several residents in that neighborhood say it's been impossible for them to leave their homes with their street blocked off to the traffic.
Well, Brian, the severe flooding caused problems many Westchester residents have never experienced. Highways, stores, and businesses were left under more than 6 feet of water in some communities. Damage was especially severe along the Sawmill Parkway, which was closed to traffic all day. News 12's Shari Sadeh has that story.
This is what's left of the Sawmill River Parkway. From Hastings to Elmsford, the roadway was completely underwater. A local restaurant's parking lot was flooded out until the water receded. The nearby Ardsley Acres Motel is also a mess.
Everything is totally destroyed, from beds and everything else in the rooms. Tables, furniture, everything is gone.
An entire section of the motel is underwater. Guests in 5 of the rooms were safely evacuated Thursday afternoon, but at least 1 car and a number of personal items could not be saved.
There's some things in the rooms that the people did not get out, that because of the water came up so quickly.
I'm here at an auto body shop in Ardsley, but it really looks more like I'm sitting on the bank of a river. The parking lot has been completely washed away, and the owner says he can't even estimate how much money he's lost.
The damage here is, I can't even talk how bad it is, because I have 2 cars underwater, and now I have to tell my customers that their cars are flooded.
At least 4 other cars are just about submerged under more than 5 feet of water in what used to be the auto shop's parking lot. Workers tried to assess the damage but could barely see some of the waterlogged cars.
I've never seen it. I've been here 8 years, and most people in the town been here 50 years, never saw nothing like this.
But Greg Reith, who doesn't have flood insurance, will not likely forget this site, even when the water eventually recedes. In Ardsley, Shari Sadeh, News 12 Westchester.
Certainly lots more amazing pictures, incredible video today. Joining us now with more on the massive cleanup effort in southern Westchester and Yonkers in particular is Yonkers DPW Commissioner John Lazewski. Mr. Lazewski, thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure, Janine.
I'm surprised you're standing after the last 24 hours, to be honest with you. Incredible pictures from Yonkers, southern Westchester, northern Westchester today. Did any of the emergency officials who deal with these type of road problems and infrastructure problems ever anticipate that this type of storm could create this type of havoc?
We did, Janine. We did anticipate the storm, which we knew was going to be very severe. And we were as well prepared for it as we possibly could be. I think that the city held its own until around 6:30 on Thursday evening. And then once that torrential rain started about 7, that's when we kind of lost much of the city. Clooney Avenue anyway.
Clooney Avenue, we're certainly seeing that. Tell us how the Sawmill River Parkway plays into that, because massive flooding along the Sawmill. And Clooney, over the last several years, has not had those problems. We saw them several years ago, but the pumpers have usually been able to keep up with the problems recently.
This is the first time in about 6 years that we've had those kind of problems. The Army Corps of Engineers did a great job in preventing that flooding, which used to happen very frequently, several times a year. We haven't had that situation in at least 6 years. This rain, though, was not ordinary. We had some places reporting 10 to 13 inches of rain. That all comes down through the Sawmill River and finds its way into the Hudson. This is what they would call a 100-year storm, once in every 100 years.
At this point, what is the situation with Clooney Avenue? We reported, of course, that the river has to subside before the flooding in the streets subsides, but for these residents who are getting literally bussed in and out of their homes on police rafts, there's got to be some sun in sight, we hope?
We hope so, and we did have a good day today in the sense that the water did recede, as you reported earlier, about 12 inches. We anticipate it continuing to recede. We will be there tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. With our pumps going again, because we feel at that time we'll be able to start pumping again and try and give these people some relief.
And what about all the downed trees and power lines? Con Ed trying to work out the power outage problems, but a lot of downed trees today. We were getting a lot of calls.
We have a problem. Con Ed was so overwhelmed with the downed trees and wires. We can't touch a tree until Con Ed goes there and determine what kind of wires are there. And if they are live wires, they'll disconnect them for us. So we've been waiting for Con Edison in many, many locations, and that's what the holdup has been. We understand that they're overwhelmed, but Yonkers is a large city, and we do need some help with it.
What type of manpower is out there? I mean, are all your crews working around the clock at this point?
Well, right now we're waiting for the water to recede. We do have emergency crews out. Our men needed a little bit of sleep tonight, which they're getting, well deserved. They were up for more than 36 hours, and we need the water to recede before we can continue to pump.
When do you anticipate normalcy again, if there is such a word in Yonkers? When do you anticipate normalcy?
I anticipate normalcy, I would say by Monday, maybe Tuesday, we'll be back into a normal situation.
Okay, Commissioner John Lazuski, we thank you so much for being with us, and of course, good luck in your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian.
Well, with Floyd gone, there is some good news, at least. We're in for a great weekend weather-wise.
The Professor Rob Eisenson has dried off from the soaking he received as our outdoor meteorologist. I can't say it, Thursday night. Long day. He joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Hey, Janine, I love being in a weather center and checking out the maps and everything, but nothing beats being out in a storm like last night. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I had the good rain gear, which is what you need. The feet got wet, but the rest of me stayed pretty dry. But as you said, we do have a real good weekend coming up. That's often the case behind a very strong tropical system. You get a couple of real nice days. We started off today with some good weather, and Saturday and Sunday will probably be even better. More sunshine and probably some less wind too. Let's check out some temperatures. These are forecast lows all around the nation, and we're into the middle part of September. Officially, autumn starts within just a matter of days. We got some 40s and 50s in the northern and central Rockies, and also notice some cool air around the eastern Great Lakes and heading down into the northeast. A lot of that is being driven by the circulation from Floyd, northwest winds bringing down that cooler air. Let's zero in on the northeast and talk about the clouds that are exiting to the north and east, kind of holding fast over New England. You can still even pick out the rotation of the circulation of Floyd, but also, and perhaps more importantly, take note of what's happening to the west. Pennsylvania, Ohio, through the Great Lakes, through the Ohio Valley, really nothing but clear skies, and that is our weekend weather. High pressure moving from west to east right towards Westchester, so the forecast is pretty easy. What do you see? Well, sunny skies, a little breezy, not as breezy as we had on Friday, just a little breezy from the northwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Nice, comfortable humidities and absolutely gorgeous temperatures in the mid-70s, and more of the same pretty much for Sunday. About the 5-day forecast, I'll tell you about that when I come back in just a few minutes. Let's go back to you in the studio.
Okay, Rob, thank you. When the night edition returns, more on the damage caused by Tropical Storm Floyd.
We'll head to hard-hit Ossining and Yorktown, where a foot of rain has left many in northern Westchester with a major mess on their hands. But first, a winning day to end the business week on Wall Street as the dollar rebounds against the Japanese yen. The Dow gained more than 66 points, while the Nasdaq added nearly 63. The S&P 500 was up more than 15. Locally, IBM dropped more than 4.5 points. Only International Paper and PepsiCo finished higher, gaining fractions.
on top of your hometown news with News 12's Chopper 12.
Hi, Jim Palmer for the Money Store. Do you have too many credit cards? Do you just pay the minimum? And even then, are those payments late sometimes? Do you pay as much as 18% interest? Would you like all this pain to go away? If you're a homeowner, call the Money Store. They have a home equity loan that gets rid of all your credit card bills and can save you hundreds of dollars a month. The Back on Track plan. So call today and put all those credit card problems behind you. The Money Store. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Guess who just bought a new car from Greenwich Chrysler and found out he got free oil changes for as long as he owns his car? Not only that, he found that buying a new car can be a very happy experience. Greenwich Chrysler Plymouth Jeep. Free oil changes. He just found out that if he'd gone to Greenwich Chrysler, he would have received free oil changes. Now, he's going to have to pay and pay and pay. Greenwich Chrysler Plymouth Jeep. We take good care of you.
You buy a mattress from anyone else except 1-800-SLEEPIES, you'll pay too much.
1-800-SLEEPIES guarantees the lowest prices.
On Sealy Posturepedic, Simmons Beautyrest, and Serta Perfect Sleeper.
Or you'll get your mattress free, plus $500 in cash.
That's right, $500 in cash. We'll beat any phone quote, guaranteed.
Or visit one of our 100 tri-state locations, and we deliver when you want it. 1-800-SLEEPYS.
That's 1-800-SLEEPIES.
Be there for T-Rex in IMAX 3D. Be there. Explore the wonders of seas and oceans. Be there. Soar miles above the earth. Be there for the world's ultimate film experiences. Be there for the IMAX experience on our giant screen with crystal clear IMAX digital sound.
Visit the Regal IMAX Theater at New Rock City, opening September 24th.
Along with Floyd's fury, one of the scenes, trees and wind ripping down power lines, a familiar scene across Westchester Thursday night.
For an update on how Con Edison is coping with power outages in the county, we're joined now by phone by spokeswoman Gail Panapacker. Gail, what is the latest on the number of folks now left in Westchester County without electricity?
Well, right now we have about 7,215 customers still without power.
That's down from a grand total of, what, 29,000 at the height?
Yes, that is.
Gail, what are you doing at this point? Are your crews still working round the clock? And when can people anticipate that those problems will be corrected?
We have more than 100 crews in Westchester working right now to repair the damaged electric system. We have more than 60 contracted tree crews assisting in the removal of the fallen debris to provide safe clearance for our workers and for the customers. And right now we're projecting that probably it won't be until late Sunday night before we have all Westchester customers restored.
Gail, we just heard from Yonkers DPW Commissioner John Lazuski that the cities and the municipalities can't touch when trees are down that involve wires. They can't touch them until Con Ed gets there first, obviously perhaps because some of those wires may be hot wires. Does that create a problem because other emergency officials can't really help with the process?
Well, basically the problem is that with a storm such as this one, which Westchester is particularly vulnerable to, the high winds can cause the trees and tree limbs to topple onto power lines, and this condition is worsened by the saturated ground. It causes entire trees to topple over because simply their roots give way. And what has to happen is obviously, in many cases, the trees have to be cleared before we can do our work and put back the power lines on.
And you're telling everyone if they see a down power line to assume that it's live, correct? Because if there's water in the area or metal touching it, that could be very, very dangerous, correct?
Absolutely. If you see a down power line, just assume it's live and do not go near it. Don't even try to move it with a stick or anything. Just go to your phone, call your local police department and Con Edison, and let them know that that there is a down wire.
Gail, you said that there were still some 7,000 people in Westchester without power. Can you tell us exactly where those people are, what communities?
It's scattered throughout Westchester Westchester County, I don't have any specific communities that it's in.
And Gail, at this point, what do you anticipate in terms of things getting back to what we call normal, if there is such a thing, in terms of most of those people getting power? Will it happen before the end of the weekend?
Right now we're projecting late Sunday night to have these customers restored. We're working as quickly as we can. Part of the problem was today the high winds of 50 miles per hour continued in the area, which hampered our restoration efforts. And of course there was severe flooding in areas, and as you've probably noticed, fallen tree limbs and branches throughout the county. So that has hindered our efforts, but our numbers have gone down from earlier in the day.
And Gail, we've learned that Con Ed is giving out dry ice to those who need it?
Yes, we are. We have a number of locations where we're giving out dry ice. It includes the Cross County Shopping Center in Yonkers, the Arcadian Shopping Center, that's on South Highland Avenue in Ossining, and the Town Center Hall in Cortland.
Okay, Gail, thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
A lot of work to be done for Con Edison still, that's for sure. Ginny?
Thank you. Well, the cleanup from the cleanup is also underway. The cleanup from Floyd, of course, underway and causing many problems for lots of Westchester residents. Floyd's rains washed out 4 bridges and damaged a number of roadways in Yorktown. The Yorktown Highway Department has a heavy workload ahead of it. News 12's John Goff reports.
On Blinn Road in southern Yorktown, this Beeline bus was a casualty of the storm. While trying to return to his garage, the driver apparently did not see that a bridge had been washed out.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I guess I wondered if anybody was on it.
According to Yorktown Highway Superintendent Eric DiBartolo, the washout on Blinn is typical of the problems which have closed 13 Yorktown roads.
What you're seeing there, maybe not on this large magnitude, but that's what you're seeing. Now, those are the type of washouts that we have. Crews are working right now down there. We hope to have Blinn Road back up by 6 o'clock tonight for emergency vehicles and everybody that's down there.
The deluge unleashed by Floyd caused travel problems throughout the town. Streets in Yorktown Heights were under several feet of water. The high water made Commerce Street impassable. The floodwaters from Commerce Street came down through this parking lot, eventually building up into a lake down at this end and leaving several inches of mud in a number of these stores. In the Daily Bagel, the cleanup took most of the morning.
There was like 2 or 3 inches on the floor. Yeah, like 2 or 3 inches, and it was pretty dirty, but we got it cleaned up.
But homeowners like Tom Maraselli are also facing the task of removing the mud left behind by Floyd.
We just were, the word is helpless, and just to watch it. And it was quite frightening to see water do what it did last night. But we were fortunate in a sense. It all subsided today.
John Goff reporting from Yorktown, and from there we head for Ossining, another one of the most hard-hit communities in all this. Emergency crews are out in force there trying to fight what Floyd left behind. News 12's Yolanda Robinson continues our team coverage from that devastated village.
Ossining residents and businesses are digging out and cleaning up the mess left behind by Tropical Storm Floyd. The storm hit northern Westchester with a vengeance, and local residents are calling Floyd the storm of their lifetime.
I've never seen anything like this before, no. And I lived on Naval Street for 40 years, since 1960.
Once daybreak came, there was much more damage to see. Floodwaters toppled trucks and vans like matchbox cars. The Ossining train station was virtually deserted after floodwaters submerged the parking lot and tracks, completely shutting down Metro North train service. And several cars still remain in a watery tomb.
I can't believe it happened, but I guess, it had to happen.
Others tried to dig their cars out of the mud at the train station, but debris from trees made that job even more labor-intensive. Many local roads did return to normal after the storm, but for some local merchants, vandalism and looting was another concern.
But it's really dangerous back there, and I don't know what they're going back there to get.
Yolanda Robinson, News 12 Westchester.
And our Mary Calvi was also in Ossining today, touring the flood-ravaged area. She filed this report earlier.
Buildings collapsed,
trucks and cars crushed, and a village trying to recover. It destroyed everything?
Yes, everything, you know. And, I don't know how to explain to you, you know.
It was a bad situation.
Yes, a bad situation.
Floyd's fury turned Ossining streets into waterfalls. Devastating rains pounded more than 10 inches of water in a matter of hours. Rains this village never could have prepared for.
It's terrible. A lot of people's cars got damaged, the homes or...
10 armored cars, 40 National Guardsmen on alert and assisting in the worst hit areas.
We've been assisting with traffic control, roads out, trees down, and we have some roads that are caved in. I have MP station at that site.
Well, floodwaters rose so high in parts of the town of Cortland that residents there had to evacuate. It is impossible to get into some of the houses on Furnace Dock Road because front yards have turned into lakes. Now, other residents are considering themselves well off even though they have a lot of water damage. At one home, the pond overflowed and sent a wooden playhouse into a bridge. But homeowner Joanne Feeney says it could have been a lot worse.
It has taken toys and basketballs, and my daughter's playhouse is smashed against a bridge. But all in all, I think we're lucky because I have my power, I have my phone, and I didn't get any water in my house.
Well, there was also serious flooding at the Blue Mountain Middle School in Cortland with water overflowing into the parking lot. And also in Cortland, they are certainly feeling Floyd's fury at the Rock and Horse Steakhouse on Albany Post Road. The foundation of that building has been severely damaged and it's too dangerous to go inside. Water surged from the dam there and into the parking lot, and there were some scary moments during the height of Thursday night's storm as floodwaters trapped people inside the structure.
We were concerned about getting them out, and it took rescue teams to tie off and get in there and hook everybody up to lines and pull them out.
No word yet on how much damage was done or when the restaurant will reopen.
Residents in Briarcliff Manor and Irvington have one problem that others, most others anyway, don't tonight. They have to boil their drinking water. The Westchester County Health Department says everyone in Irvington and Briarcliff should boil their water for 3 to 5 minutes before cooking or drinking until further notice. The problem? Floyd's powerful rains stirred up sediment in the Croton Reservoir, and there could be bacteria in the water. And again, that boil order is in effect for Briarcliff and Irvington until further notice.
Time now to turn to our Professor Rob Eisenson and talk a little bit about why we had so much rain and why so many problems from Floyd.
It's unbelievable.
Well, you know, I can account for the rain. The problems, well, that's out of my hands. So is exactly why the rain is. But,
right.
You know, it's a tropical storm. It was that combination with a front that stretched along the coast. I'm going to actually do a graphic on that a little later in the show. But let's talk about some nice things. Let's talk about the video outside from tonight when the weather's a lot calmer. We have a video from Larkin Park in Yonkers, and temperatures today were pretty nice, actually. A little cool behind that system, 70 degrees. The low this morning, 59. Some nice cool air coming in behind that tropical system. The record high, well, we're pretty far off. That's 90 degrees set back in 1970. There are the times of sunrise and sunset. Now let's go to the maps and talk about this nice stretch of weather from the Carolinas all the way north and west through the Great Lakes. That is our weekend weather for Saturday and Sunday. Floyd, well, it's all the way out there, actually spinning now off the screen off to the right. Let's get a closer view of the northeast and see where the rain is falling, because they're still getting some pretty good showers across parts of central and eastern New England. There's the clouds. Notice that we've cleared now from about the mid-Hudson Valley south and west through Pennsylvania. And again, that's our nice weather coming in overnight and for the good part of the weekend. Really nice weekend coming up with comfortable temperatures and a good deal of sunshine. But there are the showers here through Portland and Boston, but no problem off to the south and west. And again, that is our weekend weather. So tonight, we're talking about some nice temperatures down in the 50s, maybe even a couple of 40s. Comfortably cool is what we're calling it. As far as tomorrow, lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 70s, sunny delight. And here's a 5-day forecast. It looks good through the weekend, as I said. Monday looks pretty good. Some clouds coming Tuesday. Right now, I'm just talking about a few showers for Tuesday, but I don't want to scare anybody. It's not a tropical system, but some of the computer models are indicating maybe a more significant storm around Tuesday or Wednesday with possibly some heavy rain.
Okay.
But what stays away? Let's not worry about it right now.
And safe to say that whole drought problem is over?
Yes, it is definitely over. It's over.
Okay. Thanks, Professor.
Well, here's some numbers for you. If you need any help with a place to stay, clothes, or maybe your power is out, we have some very important phone numbers for you. One, the Westchester chapter of the American Red Cross. That phone number is 946-6500.
Con Edison's helpline is 1-800-75-CON-ED, 1-800-75-CON-ED.
And if you have questions about the health matters or your water, the boil order in Irvington and Briarcliff, for example, you can call the County Health Department. Their number, 637-4700. Again, 637-4700. And joining us now is one of the hardest working men in Westchester these days, Dr. Peter Can with the American Red Cross. You people have been very, very busy over the last 48 hours or so. Where do things stand right now? I know at one point you had 6 shelters up and running. Are they still
Actually, we had 7 shelters, and they were all closed this morning because they were really emergency shelters that arose as needed to take care of various things like the commuters being stranded and some other things that were not expected. What we've now done is that the day has been better today, and the sun has been out and the rain has been stopping and the water is starting to drain down. We have one shelter open which will now remain open in cooperation with the Montrose VA Hospital up in Montrose, New York. And that facility will be there for any folks that need a place to stay, that cannot remain in their homes. We're now into the recovery phase, and very typically the families are doing everything they can to clean their homes out. They want to get back in, they want to get their basements pumped out. And as they get themselves cleaned up, they may need a place to stay at night. They are not with family and friends, or an emergency, water is still creating problems here and there, sporadically in the county. So this facility will exist at least for the next 2 to 3 days, so that anybody that does need a safe place to stay will have one.
And Dr. Can, you mentioned the commuters that were stuck at so many train stations in Westchester County because obviously Metro-North had to stop the trains because the water problem got so severe, and people literally stranded because the water was so high and the flooding was so high they had to stay in the train stations. What did you do with all those people?
Well, actually what happened is they provided buses, and since we had some of our emergency shelters open, particularly the Rye Country Day School, they brought them to us in the buses, and we sort of kept them there overnight, gave them a good breakfast this morning, and had buses come and get them and take them back to the trains. Although the trains this morning still weren't going north, they were going south, from Tarrytown south on the Hudson line and from White Plains south on the Harlem line.
What was the biggest challenge the Red Cross faced here? I mean, you guys were some of the first people that we talked to very early in the week. Like on Monday we might have talked to you, and you said, people, get ready. This is going to be a serious storm. Do you think everything was done to prepare people appropriately for what was coming?
We were saying, people get ready, and unfortunately a lot of people procrastinated or just didn't believe the storm was going to come, or didn't believe it was going to be what it was. And the biggest challenge, quite frankly, is for those communities that we did some pre-planning with as early as Tuesday and Wednesday, things went reasonably well. It was all of a sudden these calls that were coming in, panic calls, at 8 and 9 o'clock at night. We need a shelter, we need this, we need that. By 10 o'clock at night, as we were trying to respond, we literally got to the point where it had been so late in the game, we were trying to help. We could perhaps get personnel to a location, but we couldn't get cots and blankets there. We were facing a lot of that kind of issue.
Well, one thing that took almost everybody by surprise, and I believe your folks as well, was people thought it was going to hit the Sound Shore very hard, because that's where the water is, and everybody thought that was going to be the trouble spot, but it turned out to be northern Westchester.
Oh, absolutely. We had all looked to the Sound Shore as being the area that we were going to have the most trouble with in Nassau County and Suffolk County, and it quite literally took us all unaware. It crossed that, and your weathermen would know more about that line, but there's a line that runs across the county sort of diagonally from the southwest to the northeast, and it was that northwest section that took the heaviest rain. We on the Sound Shore had some winds, and we maybe had 6 inches of rain, but up north they had in some places as many as 18 inches of rain, and the winds were absolutely furious.
Took a lot of us by surprise.
It sure did.
Dr. Peter Can, American Red Cross, thank you so much, and good luck to you going forward.
Thank you very much.
Get some sleep.
Get some
we're
sleep,
going.
certainly. Thanks, Dr. Can. Well, we should tell you some more information. All county parkways are now reopened with one big exception, the Sawmill River Parkway. It remains shut down from